Hi, everybody. Welcome to the LAMC and our panel, Streaming Strategies. I'm here with, I always say pretty much the same, but it's true. Some of my favorite people in the industry. We've got everything covered. We've got DSPs, we've got labels. Thank you so much for joining us. Amaya Mendizabal, Latin music creator for Amazon Music. Hi. Diego Burgos, also Latin music editor at Deezer. Mauricio Ojeda, who is music label partnerships manager at YouTube, Latin America. And on the label side, we've got Ariel Chicho, director of Dale Play, and Ruben Abram, VP marketing at Warner Music Latina. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we're all very excited about this topic, which is something we talk about, we think about pretty much every hour of the day. We're very, very involved in this process. And I think it's a great chance to discuss not only what a streaming strategy is, but what is the right way to do it? What are the no's? How has everything changed since, of course, COVID? So I'm going to start with a very broad question, which I think is super important. I don't know, Diego, if you want to start. I would love to, everybody jump in whenever you feel like. What is for you an effective streaming strategy?
Okay, so first of all, very happy to be here. Hello, everyone. I think that I would start with something that is actually, it seems very simple, but it's actually really important and something that actually I don't see often. And it's, I need that, we need to learn about the ecosystem of music and what it will take you to achieve the goal. Like I see that sometimes artists, even seasoned artists, they don't have very clear what is the actual ecosystem of music. Like what is the difference between a label, an aggregator, what is a DSP, right? So I think that for starters and to start actually this conversation, my input would be to actually map out the different agents that you have in the industry. Like understand what are the types of aggregators that you have. What is different from that, in regards to a label. And then you're going to start seeing a bunch of different things that will actually lead to the actual strategy, because then you're going to find, okay, so I need to find a partner, I need to find a label, an aggregator, a publisher, right? And then goes, okay, so then you have the DSPs, and then you have like peer agencies, manager agencies. So I think that I would start off by saying that, like start like doing the research and doing like a map. And for me, this is some like, for example, traveling to a new country. Right now, of course you can that is kind of a crappy example nowadays, because maybe you can, but if you go to a new country, you can just get off the plane and start running and see what's going to be. And of course you're going to have like maybe great surprises, but maybe you're going to lose a little bit of time, and actually you're going to miss a little bit of fun if you don't prepare ahead. That would be different if you go and check the map and see, okay, so this is the hotel, this is the place where I can eat. If I get sick, maybe I can go to that place, right? So mapping out the ecosystem for me is the first step.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you cannot get anywhere if you don't know, the steps to follow. Absolutely. Ruben, in your experience, and since we all work in Latin music, but we also know that Latin music is not a genre. There are so many different genres and artists. So in your experience, having worked with so many different artists, what's the most effective for you streaming strategy, or at least what are the first steps?
I would say that overall is content. You just have to keep making, creating, delivering, and putting it out there. You have to be patient, but because it'll some songs or some videos won't exploit at the beginning or in that fast, but you just have to keep delivering. I think that the best way to increase your audience, to start bringing people to listen to your music or watching your videos, is to feed them in, keep throwing content to them. So I would say that overall is that just create.
I think you've made a great point in talking about patience, because we all know artists and management tends to be very eager and they want everything right away. And of course, I mean, we understand that, but I think a key part of strategy is to understand there are steps, and not everything is going to be achieved at first release or first day or even first week of release.
Sorry, just imagine the journey that a kid or a fan has to make to get to your music. I mean, before you had TV and radio, and everybody was there were the only two channels to listen to new music. No, right now you have lots of them, but the journey is more complicated. So you have to be patient. I mean, they will come and they will listen to the music at the end, but it will take a little bit more time than you think.
I'd love to jump on what Ruben said, because I think consistency is key. And I think a very important part is understanding your potential audience and going after them and working with, once you've done the solid base, which Diego mentioned, of, understanding the ecosystem, and you're to the point where you're delivering content consistently to DSPs, to people like us, understand the potential audience and let us know what your vision is, exactly what your music is, and help us help you support that in whatever way we can within our own ecosystems.
Absolutely. And then there's also, and this is something we've all discussed before, the obsession about playlisting, of course. But I think it's important to also, make a note on a streaming strategy is not a list of playlists. A marketing plan is not just a list of playlists. It's the way you get there. And in a way, I mean, the big focus, I think, right now and for a while has been to get into playlists. But playlists are the most part and the ones, everyone wants to get to editorial. So I would love to hear from you, and please don't say like playlists are everything, because it will kill us all. So what other ways are there to develop an effective streaming strategy apart from playlists? I mean, not to depend only on the pitching to editors. What other ways, what other creative ways are there? I know, Chicho, if you want to jump in. What else is there to do?
Well, basically, what I believe and what we believe at the Replay is that the most effective streaming strategy is that where everyone, that is artists and managers on the one side, we as a label, the aggregator, and then the DSPs feel the most comfortable, or as comfortable as possible. And that varies from artist to artist, from management to management, from label to label, and of course from DSP to DSP. So and in attacking this, we are all looking for in playlisting, which is kind of what we can look for in a radio and in airplay. What we like to take into account is that each artist is a channel on itself. So they have their own media in social media, of course, with their own audiences. And with all this mixed together, and what we were saying earlier about the ecosystem, and what Diego was saying about the ecosystem, and what Ruben was saying about the content, I think all this, with all of this, you can create a content where, of course, playlisting will be part of the target, but it's it's going to be just one objective among some others that you can attain from not only from pitching the songs to the DSPs, but from a consistent strategy in social media, for example, or from a consistent actions in, I don't know, say merchandising or ads on the street. I mean, whatever. You have like a very wide uh, set of weapons and tools you can use. And of course, playlisting will be one of these.
Hi, yes, and I would like to actually add on top of like what my colleagues have said, because I have to say I totally agree with what Diego said about mapping the ecosystem, what Amaya and Ruben quoted, of course, about like the having consistency on the like a content creation and the releasing actually of new music, but there are certain tools, of course, at the same time that they're available actually for the artists, and they were available. What is interesting is also that they were available before the pandemic, right? But actually, I think that due to like the current need of like continuously reaching the audiences are more like on the top of mind of the artists, and there have been improvements, absolutely, of course. But at the same time, what is interesting is just that they're finally trying it, and I can quote you just one example. Like for instance, that in YouTube, like we have like this product that is called Live Redirect, right? Which basically what it means is like you can create a live momentum, right? A live momentum or inclusive, a pre-recorded live, in order to support and promote the release of your new PNB, right? So by doing that, you're basically engaging with your fans through a different experience, right? Just making it, you're just basically enriching this experience, and at the same time, you are promoting your video. And we're testing, of course, at YouTube, like we're testing other tools that probably you will hear soon, or if you're one of our partners, probably you're in some beta tools that allow you to, for instance, to connect one audience for a different location at the same time that you're doing a live redirect, or we can kind of like also like seeking a very like exclusive moment from premium users, for instance, that can also be part of this release strategy. So again, as I said, it's definitely uploading, creating new content, figuring out like what's going to be really like your strategy, but also get to know all these tools that can enrich this experience, right? So I can quote like many examples, and we can just probably talk through this panel, and I'll be happy to provide. But I think it also that makes the experience powerful. And of course, there's the playlist. I mean, it's super important, and also like the power of programming, right? And so that's basically what you call editors. But I think it's totally linked to what I'm saying, like this whole path of content development and release.
Yeah, I will just I will just add that at the end you need to think about if you are prepared, or if your song is prepared to be in a certain playlist. It's like if you're a football player and you're starting, but you want to play the championship already at the beginning. Maybe you're not ready for that. I mean, playlist editors in all DSPs, they have certain KPIs, and they have to keep people coming back to the playlist, listening to music. So if your song is not performing well, they will take it out, and it's going to be hard to have it back in again. So maybe, I mean, you have to be patient and start building around that to achieve that playlist, maybe in a midterm, not start since the beginning, because if you don't perform well, then it's bye-bye,
How do you guys sorry, Diego, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just wanted to add that I totally agree with Ruben on that one, and actually I just wanted to add two points that I think that are very going back to consistency, I prefer a crappy strategy, but actually a strategy that is done right, than a genius, amazing idea that it was just done 1 week and then it's over, right? So I think that is the first thing. And the second thing, I think that artists, and artist teams needs to start thinking more about tracking, having some sort of measure to see what is happening on a week-to-week basis, on a monthly basis, or something like that. Something it doesn't need to be like super complicated, like a full set of stats or anything like that. Even if it is just one number or one simple thing, like, for example, what is my weekly user base, right? Like if you guys are focused on your social media, right, and you kind of have an idea of what is the average of likes that you get on a picture, or a reel you made, or what is your average video count on a platform like YouTube, right? You need to have the same mindset for the DSPs and actually have a set of numbers for every one of them. Like, okay, what are my numbers in Amazon? What are my numbers, in Deezer, right? And start growing that and see, okay, on my objective will be by at the end of the month, I'm going to have, like 10% more, right? How am I going to do that? So you start on your proximate family, right? Your family, your friends. That might sound simple, but it's actually the first step, and it's actually difficult because it needs consistency. It's not a thing about just doing that one day and having a great post, but actually it's something that you need to be on a daily basis, right? So once you get that done and you have a couple of months in the pocket, right, and you can actually measure how the things you're doing, even if they're crappy and maybe they're not working, at least you know that now that is not working for sure. So then you are actually able to try new stuff. So I would add that those are the first things, consistency, and find something so you can actually track or measure, how things are going, So that would be my input on that.
That's amazing. And in fact, that was like my follow-up question. You guys, YouTube, Amazon, Deezer, you guys are constantly improving the ways you give labels and artists tools to track that. And I would love for you guys to talk about, the different, Amazon Mix for Artists. All of the tools you're providing, exactly to keep effective, to keep track of what's going on, and to be able to plan, to go back and say, okay, that didn't work. Let's think why. Those numbers won't tell you why, but they will tell you something happened. So I would love to hear from you, like the latest developments on that side.
Oh, you mentioned Amazon Music for Artists, so I'll jump in. I think that we all have, like Mauricio was saying, know the tools available to you, and it's going to give you the analytics and data that is about that specific service. In our case, you can find information about how your requests on Alexa are doing, which is one thing that's very Amazon Music, and what playlists are being added to, what countries you're being listened to, etc. So I think those, like Diego and Mauricio were mentioning, are very important for you to understand that data, know what's working. It helps you strategize your timing of releases, and there's so much data available to you. Understand what each service has available, and we work very closely with artists. If anybody wants to sign up, you can go to artist.amazonmusic.com and learn more. But absolutely important for everybody to know.
Yeah, and actually, I will add on top of that yes, at the same time we actually announced the release last year of a tool that's called analytics for artists that you can have access through through the Content Studio, and basically you can just you have it on an app. You download it in an app, so artists can just actually check on information on real time on like how this video performance, what's becoming actually trending, also information like geographically speaking, like how it's performing on different locations, right? Traffic sources, and as Diego said, it's basics, right? I mean, the tools are there. It's just I really just encourage all the artists that can actually watch this stream to just go, if they haven't tried, just go and try it and test it, and they will be actually amazed, by the information that these actually tools can provide, like actually on your benefit. And as I said, like we're constantly just improving. We're integrating more information, also based on charts, based on like actually playlists, as we said. So yeah, just go and check it out.
Yeah, I also. Oh, go ahead, Ariel. It's okay.
Thank you. And from the artist slash label point of view, that information you provide us with is more than welcome, because it's useful to using Ruben's words to see at what type of championship you are ready to play. So taking into account, I don't know, algorithmic streams or organic streams or playlist streams or skip rate or whatever, you can make an idea of what can you expect from a particular song once it's released, and what to ask for, and where to demand, and where to let loose a little bit. So I think this data driven part of the industry we're looking at is interesting for the DSPs and for the labels and artists, because it helps you give direction to a particular content at a particular stage in time.
Yeah. One thing that I would like to add is that, again, very simple, but I think it's super overlooked by artists and actually industry professionals is the products itself. Like if you are in this industry, either if you're a producer, an artist, an editor, a manager, you need to be aware of everything that is happening in the different products that you have. You need to use them, right? First of all, because it's the first thing to support the industry and pay respects to, all the amazing talented people that is working in YouTube, Amazon, Deezer, whatever. You need to go and find what they're doing, but also because it's a way to actually benchmark what they're doing in the different platforms, right? So sometimes I see that artists, maybe they focus just on one app, and they actually, I mean, if my aunt, that is of course not working in the industry, she decides that she's going to use Amazon or Deezer or YouTube to consume her music, that's fine, because that's a consumer decision. But if you're an artist, you need to download every single app that is available, because every single product is a potential outlet to your music, right? So you need to understand everything, and also because every product functions in different ways. The algorithm is different, the editor perspective is different. So a good way itself, of course, we have I totally agree with the analytics. We have this amazing feature that is called Backstage. These are Backstage, and of course you can see all the data, countries, demographics, everything, right? But actually the basics is to know the app. Okay, so new releases, where they're featured, do they have like a specific channel? Oh, we have 5 playlists, 10 new releases playlists. Like once you start understanding every app, you're going to have a huge perspective, and actually you can start tracking. Oh, this week they changed the covers, so they change covers every week. Oh, okay, it's every 15 days. Oh, this type of playlist change covers every month. And then you start sort of understanding what Ruben was saying about, is my product ready to be in that playlist? Oh, okay, so this is a flagship one, so maybe I just go to the new releases, more local one. So I need to pitch my music to that one, rather than pitching my music to this huge playlist. So I think that one of the main basic things to do is actually use every single platform and every single product that you have in the industry, because that is going to give you the tools to actually understand better where you want to go, right?
Absolutely, to get the whole picture in terms of, because obviously every DSP has kind of a different audience, a different profile, different territories, different tools even. So yeah, I think that's key. And I was wondering, about these tools you all have, and as Mauricio said, I mean, you've had it for a while now, but what has changed since the pandemic? Do you feel like people are getting deeper into that? Why? Maybe in the case of labels, do you guys feel like you guys have been tracking more of performances through these tools?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think what really like have changed is just like first of all, like the booking experience, like of course, like the cancellation of live shows, right? But which at the same time, and the whole like the lockdown situation, like ended up in like in creating more and more content, and right, like and artists, like at the same time, artists and their teams having more time to to figure out like the way to engage with their fans through as we said, like the several DSPs. So, and then we can just actually, to quote like huge success in live, such as Brazil, for instance, like at the beginning of the pandemic, it was amazing just the amount of peak concurrence that you could see in Brazil, like anywhere else. But at the same time, we started to see like this trend, growth, right? So I think that that definitely have changed, and artists actually experimenting with these tools, learning to actually do a live performance, trying the different platforms to actually do a live performance, and identify what could be best, or what could actually provides like better quality depending on the artist's and needs, for instance. So I can quote you like so many live shows that we actually supported. That is, they're amazing. Probably you will recall a Post Malone that we did, or Andrea Bocelli, that's actually during the high peak of the pandemic, right? Or Mark Ronson. And on the Latin side, like we also supported the Bad Bunny Euphoria, which actually that's also like a good streaming strategy. By the way, I mean, yes, on a mainstream artist, but can give you other examples of other artists like Tommy Torres, and it's incredible like how like some artists that probably they weren't that big like in social have better success, have more like audience reach than other like mainstream artists, because for like some way they were able to promote it better. They created really like high quality like at their home like performances. And they actually tie it to probably like an offline campaign, working with the PR teams to also like promote it in their in their local media. And during that time, that there were a lot of people like paying attention to that. But what is interesting is that the trend continues, and we can expect actually more and more festivals. We also work like on a festival called Save Our Stages, which did a partnership with NIVA Association, National Independent Venue Association in the U.S. to support those venues actually that are not getting shows, and at the same time they're artists, so they can just generate revenue by releasing other certain tools that can enhance their monetization. So yes, I mean, we can continue like talking about it, but short story. Mm-hmm.
I'd say from a programming standpoint, the process has really remained the same. The way we get pitches, the way we're programming music. I'd be really curious to hear about from the labels of how the music has changed and how the artist perspective has changed. But in terms of tools We're adapting and we're continuing to roll out new things. In 2020, we integrated Twitch into the Amazon Music app, and that's an incredible way for artists to go in via Amazon Music for Artists, connect their Twitch channel, and whenever they're live on Twitch, they're live automatically on Amazon Music in the app. So I think there's some really interesting ways that as artists adapt to their limitations now, they're still able to use the strengths and tools of some of our services, but would love to hear from the labels of how the artists are adapting.
Let me jump in. Well, yeah, at the beginning, I think for us, didn't change that much, but what we lost a little bit at the beginning was discovery. We didn't have nightclubs, we didn't have school parties, fans or people getting together, and we were like, oh, how are people gonna start discovering new music or new artists? So I think that the key was to, like Amaya said, you need to get to know your audience better and in a more deeply way. So yeah, kids are not just into music, but they're into fashion, gaming, social network, and you have to be there. And if you connect in more points, in more touch points with your audience, you will be more engaged with them. So I think, yeah, gaming was really helpful. I think social network was really helpful. And again, I mean, you need to be where the audience were, in their homes. So yeah, doing live streaming shows from your house, or maybe uploading some past shows that you had that you haven't put up. So yeah, I think that was the key, just to understand what was happening with your audience, and then be with them again, and comfort them with music.
I would like to actually add up to what Ruben said, because actually I think that the most important thing is that discovery. We in our platform, we've seen that from the user's perspective, I think that users got a little bit closed on the new releases. They were searching for a lot of catalog, right? Like maybe songs that reminded them of better times, I guess. Summer parties, things that are, we had to adapt and actually increase our catalog offer hugely. Actually, we needed to do like decades playlists, things that we got there, but we needed to be more specific. And actually, since our jobs are a little bit of being the connection and between users and artists to actually discover this new music, we needed to come up with new ways to do that, because actually we found a little bit of a difficulty to actually get that new music to be. It is already difficult, as we know in the industry. It's very difficult to get users to enjoy and discover new music, but now we felt that it was a little bit harder. So what we did is that several things, but just to name one, what we did is that as every DSP, we have this weekly discover new releases playlist, right? The usuals. And actually, we know that artists and the industry is kind of obsessed about them, right? What we started to do is actually we kept those, but actually we created like new monthly recaps of the best new music of the past month, right? So things like in the LATAM case, Lo Mejor de Enero or Lo Mejor de Febrero, where we took from all of the releases, we picked, 50 or 80 tracks from all different segments. So you have the mainstream big artists, but also a little bit of the local alternative artists, to sort of give the user a newsletter in a form of a playlist. Let's say, hey, we know that maybe you don't want, or you don't have enough time to check new releases every Friday. So here's your monthly recap. And we found that finding those different forms of getting these new releases through. It helped, of course, the users discover new music, but also in a way we helped artists to stop being so obsessed with the weekly support, right? And that gave us a way of working on a more let's say more boutique type of music content, and not this fast food type of music that we want, like we playlist me. So artists also understand in a way that this is a long-term game, like you don't need, maybe your first week is not great, you're not going to go viral overnight, but if you keep working, maybe you'll get to this best of month playlist and then catalog, and so it actually helped us to attack the two problems. Users maybe are more engaged with this playlist that I'm telling you guys about, the monthly playlist, but also users are like, oh, okay, so the world is not ending if I not get playlisted this week, right? So maybe I can keep working on other strategies. So that was a good one for us.
Let me add one more thing on top of what you just said about the discoverability, because that will take us back to like the first question about like the strategy, and it's about like releasing like new content. And I think like actually that's actually the way and the idea, right? Because by doing that, by, as you said, not expecting just only the weekly release support, but what can we do? What are we gonna do in order to enhance and to just get more retention, right, to that hit or something, right? And that you're gonna sort it out by just releasing new content, like content around lyrics, for instance, or shoulder content, right? Around, no, I don't know. I'm just to give you an example, like behind the scenes or something. And the idea is just to feed that what we call like algorithm, so it can just actually just create a whole like like buzz around that premium, for instance, the premium music video or the track. So it goes back. My point is like it goes back to the content strategy, right? It's like just create new content, just and work actually on a plan and on a schedule. Have a strategy, of course.
And on top of that, Mauricio, on the top of what everyone is saying, from the artist and label point of view, the fact that there's no more distraction, or there was no more distraction from the live scene, distraction, of course, ironically speaking. I mean, what we experienced is that what was that during a while, and in Argentina where we operate, the lockdown was quite long. Artists didn't have much more to do than to create music. So that made everyone change a little bit the scope on the pace music was released, and with that pace of music release, what changed was the streaming strategy and the dynamics in our relationship with the aggregator and with the DSPs. So I guess that if of course, from my point of view, if we had this same conversation exactly 1 year ago before the hard lockdown, my feeling is that the conversation would have been completely different, and that we are taking things for granted because for the past, I don't know, 11 months, we have changed the way we all work, and it's natural now, but it's completely different from the way we worked, at least from my position in February last year. I mean, as a quick example, we work with the orchard. So, of course, we have a direct and straight relationship with Ines. But the moment the lockdown happened, the way we started meeting and the dialogue we started having changed completely from one day to the other. And of course, I can easily translate that relationship between YouTube or Deezer or Amazon and the orchard as well.
No, I listen, and just one thing, and sorry that we all miss live music. It's like so much. Actually, that's the reason why we all like sign into like these jobs. We love live music,
Yeah,
but
I was joking. I was joking with the distraction.
I miss live music so much. But yeah, like hopefully like this whole like it's been a horrible year like for many people, like good to others, and there's been learnings. There's been lots of learnings, but my hope is like, of course, like by providing this and by seeing all these best cases and seeing artists implementing, they will, like, some of those that they weren't doing, they will keep doing it, and they realize that it's possible to do it, and it adds lots of value. So,
Yeah, actually, if we take a look back, the industry not only stayed but grew, and there were actually so many incredible releases. Some of my personal opinion, some of my favorite albums came out during pandemic, and so that's my next question. First, directed to Amaya, Diego, and Mauricio, and then to Chicho and Ruben. What are the let's talk about examples, like campaigns, strategies that you've seen recently, that you've said, yeah, okay, this is the way it should always be done. Can you give some examples?
I think there's no right way to do it. I think different strategies work for different artists. If we're talking about the right way in a strategy to work with someone like an Amazon Music, the biggest tool is your story. Not only, who is the artist, what's interesting about them, what's going to hook us, but what have they already done? Who are their fans? And one example for us would be No Beat, who's a new artist from Colombia, amazing producer, classically trained, like fantastic new sounds that we haven't been hearing in Latin urban pop music, and that hooked us. And the way that the artist team presented it to us, and the way they presented his music, made us want to get on board. And we said, hey, we're going to be rolling out a new developing artist program called Rompe, and we want him to be one of the first artists that we work with. And within that, we're able to work him through the playlist, ecosystem, and get him to Latino, which is our biggest mainstream Latin playlist, and do editorial cool videos with him and do stuff on social. So I think that apart from the big splashy releases, some people can do surprise releases and it works really well for them. Others need like a long lead and need to warm up their fans. But I think there's some really interesting ways, and knowing the programs that each service has, and knowing how to pitch for that and how to tell the artist's story is a really effective way to work a project, in my opinion.
I love that. Storytelling is everything. I mean, not everything, but a big part. And when you hear a good story, you wanna tell it. So you're gonna
absolutely. And yeah, like Mauricio was saying, we're all here because we're passionate about music. And when we hear something that we love and that we feel passionate about, we want to make it as widely known as possible, and we want to have other people hear it and love it as much as we do.
It's great artists, by the way. I mean,
awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
What about you, Mauricio? Can you think about a special campaign, something you?
Yeah, I think I put already a few, but like like just a few more that I can recall. Like one is the a concierto en casa that we did with Camilo. Actually, it was pretty epic. Not only because of like the over like 200,000. It was 270,000 like peak concurrence that we have that day. But it was just, we were really able to create a very special moment for his fans and his audience through like a very important time of his life. That was getting a new house. That was just renovating it, which better way that, of course, like showing like his house to his fans and his new life by just supporting and creating a performance moment through like different areas of his house, and we were able to connect actually other artists in other locations. Ruben, like Pablo Alborán was there. Like he also performed with Eva Luna, and the close-up was epic. And again, as I said, I just can quote the Bad Bunny Euphoria concert in New York City last year. That was amazing. It's like I haven't seen other experience like that one, like globally. It was amazing. It was amazing. Banda MS as well. We were able to create like a content piece last year as part of one of our packages. This is for like Mexican regional band in the U.S. So it's pretty important, pretty big deal. And yeah, like several, like the Post Malone that I quoted, the Mark Ronson. I don't know if you guys had the opportunity to see like the Mark Ronson Pure Love Lockdown performance that he was DJing, right? But at the same time, he captured footage from the artists that he actually played his songs, and some of them, of course, like you will see that the content is like it's pre-recorded, but he was able to actually insert this footage during the whole like set, and it was epic. It really made my night. There was so many times during the lockdown. The Nirvana tribute, Post Malone, was absolutely gorgeous as well. But so many other like moments. Again, as I said, like the Saber Stages Festival as part of NIVA was also pretty epic and beautiful. So yes. Mm-hmm.
Diego, any campaign?
Sure. I think that it comes to my mind the something that we did more on the local side. As you know, I mean, Deezer is very known for actually targeting very local audiences and doing like specific local content. And one of the amazing things that we did this in this period of time was the Vallenato strategy. As you know, in Colombia, we're leaders in Vallenato, and it was kind of a funny, interesting thing, because actually before the pandemic, we had already a couple of years working with the Vallenato industry in Colombia to actually get them to be more digital, right? We had even before the pandemic, we had a lot of challenges, and we were in this shift with them towards making them more digital and rely more on platforms and because, as you know, the way a city like Valledupar, let's say the golden place for Vallenato, the dynamics are very different, like as in a capital like, I don't know, Bogota or even Medellin, right? So we were having challenges, but actually we were actually moving forward to make them more digital, to understand the ecosystem, to understand the importance of tracking, measuring. And then the pandemic hits, right? So it was actually like sort of an obligated pressure to actually make them even more digital, because I mean, we were in the point of getting to understand DSPs, playlistings, partners, aggregators, and then you have the pandemic too. So actually, you need to be even more digital and even more, let's say, creative, right? So. As you know, the Festival Vallenato the Vallenato Festival is a huge thing in April in Colombia, and actually other countries like Venezuela and Ecuador, right? And it was not possible to do it, right? And we've been being partners with the Vallenato Festival for a long time now, and we were like, whoa, we can do that now. So they thought it's over, right? We can do anything. So actually, we work with them to actually make a digital version of the Vallenato Festival, and it was amazing. Of course, we had a lot of challenges, and it was the learning curve was just like that. It was not even a curve. It was like that. You need to sort of, but it was great because at the end of the day, we had this digital outcome where we had panels, we had history classes, lessons, the history about accordion, right? And why is accordion so important to the vallenato culture? Then, of course, we had live presentations, home sessions, and it turned out to be an amazing week where actually then we got comments from vallenato artists like, hey, after the Vallenato Festival, I got messages from France, from Germany. That never happened in my 20-year career. Like now I have people that ask me about vallenato and wants to learn more, and they're like dancing and doing crazy stuff with vallenato, and so we felt that and I'm totally in the same track as Ariel. I know that this year has been really hard for a lot of people in so many different ways, right? But at the same time, it was this pressure that we needed for the industry to actually evolve, right? And even in genres like so local like vallenato, now they're more digital than ever, and now they understand the importance of being digital, right? So for us, that was everything, that like having a great vallenato artist telling me like, hey, now I have fans in Germany, right? That was for me all worth it. So it was amazing. Yeah,
that's great. We're gonna start wrapping up. We have now some questions from the audience, and I've got a first one from Oswaldo from Lima. He doesn't say it. I'm guessing he's an artist, and he's asking a very big question. If you had to give me one piece of advice, what would it be? I imagine he's talking about his career because we don't know about his personal life, but what do you feel is like a tip, like start by this for what I'm guessing is a new artist or somebody who's trying to get in the industry?
Can I start? Create a lot of content, multi-platform content. That's the key. I mean, that's how you will connect with your audience. That's how you will bring new fans. They will get to know you better, not just your song, but know you, like you guys were saying before, your story. So yeah, don't avoid. I know the tools are really important. I know all the data that it's out there. It's key, but for artists, you also need to avoid this paralysis or analysis. You just go and get into the studio, create and create and create and deliver.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think we already talk a lot about as Diego said, mapping the platforms, mapping the socials, right? And as Ruben said, create your own content, and I think that's actually definitely the key.
And also be authentic. Do not try to imitate this or that artist. Of course, we all get influenced, but be unique.
Yeah, that also goes like to one thing that I think, just be near your source. I think your music source at the same time. It's all about how you're gonna feel yourself. It's through a source.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would say two things. First of all, get an unconditional partner, even if it's your mom. Find someone that believes in you, no matter the money or anything, but that actually believes in your work. That could be, of course, a manager, a PR manager, a partner, an aggregator. But even if it's maybe you're just starting, so your best friend, your mom, your brother, but not only get it, but actually analyze why that person is so in love with you. If it's because you're your son, because you're the son of your mother and that's it, or because actually you have something that sparks something in that person, and then try to replicate that with 2 or 3 more people, and then 5, and then 7, and then 15, and then 20. And the little you already have 100 people that is ready to do something for you, stream a song, pay a ticket, or something like that, right? So So I would say that, because sometimes I think that we're just too focused on getting the cover of this playlist or getting huge in TikTok or YouTube or Deezer or Amazon or whatever. But actually we forget about the people that we are in this close reach. So find those partners, because actually those are the base and the first tests of your success. So that's a good way to measure and actually replicate, right?
Yeah, I'd echo exactly what everybody else said. I think from where I sit, from a programming side, it's the authenticity that really stands out, and you believe in what you're doing, it's gonna translate to us.
Thank you. All amazing advice. And then Ana Maria from Tijuana has a very precise question, just the opposite of Oswaldo. When I have a new release, should I focus on a fan link, or should I ask people to go to one platform in particular? I'm ready to hear you guys.
I wouldn't alienate anybody. I would, post as much as you can about everywhere, and make sure that, everybody can find you anywhere they're listening to music.
Totally. I mean, you can complement like one platform to the other by knowing them, by knowing their tools and their exactly. I mean, each particularity of the tool. They're so different and so the way, but at the same time, they could just get connected, So I wouldn't necessarily just lean on one only. Actually, not necessarily. No, I wouldn't do it. So yeah.
Yeah, it really goes back to what we've been talking about this whole time about knowing the strengths. If you have a video on YouTube, post your YouTube video. If you have a song on Amazon Music, post to your fans, hey, ask for my song on Alexa, et cetera, et cetera. Post the Deezer link. Make sure that there's so many entrances to your content.
Thank you so much, everybody. We've had a great chat. Loved hearing all of the different point of views, but also the things where we all agree on. It's been a pleasure, and thank you so much. Ciao.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.